If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Free and Gentle.
Hampton OB.
You guys have the best football show in America. I'm talking 48 contiguous states and Alaska and Hawaii.
You are correct, sir.
28 coaches. We've won 2 games. 2 games.
Mason steps up over the middle and he's stripped it again. And that's a Debo again. His second of the day.
I think I was late to the one to Mooney, and I think that I was on time to the one to Tyler. Just good coverage, a little bit behind him, which is all me.
The last 2 coaching staffs we've had here, there are not words to describe these people. They know nothing. Nothing.
In my mind, I'm gone to Carolina.
Hampton OB. Sponsored by your local Chevy dealers at ChevyDriveChicago.com.
I just want to know one thing, OB.
What time is it?
It's go time.
Go Bears!
Hampton OB is sponsored by your local Chevy dealers at ChevyDriveChicago.com. Good afternoon/evening, everyone. Andy Mazer sitting here with the guys as we bring you up to some Blackhawks hockey and get you ready for the Bears and the Panthers. This scintillating primetime television matchup. Okay, maybe I can't sell it that high, but we'll see what's going on with the combined record between these two teams, 3-14.
Well, we're going to try to do our very best to keep Al Michaels awake throughout the second half. OB, you as a football team, you kind of have a journey, and this one leads us to a game here in our beautiful stadium at home against a team that's worse than us. We're finally favored in an actual football game, first time all season. And in my mind, it's a win-win. You win the game and get to 3-7. That's the only thing that matters. But the secondary thing is it will also ensure your ability to keep Carolina in the cellar, where hopefully we can, have the highest draft pick possible. So, you look at games, we've got a 50% chance, 80%. This is a 6-inch putt, Andy. Anybody can see this is a game the Bears have got to win.
Oh, Danny, excuse me, absolutely. Well, when you look at the Panthers, folks, you look at their stats. And how many games they've played so far this season offensively, my God, are they awful. They're near the bottom, 30th, 28th, 32nd, 25th, 27th, almost in every category there is. And we're playing at home, and no more excuses, guys, okay? Coaches, no more, I don't want to hear your voices, okay, anymore about why we lost, how we lost. I don't want to hear about injuries. I don't want to hear about anything but a victory, and a convincing victory, because this is a team that has won one game. Well, we won 2, but won one game. And we're playing at home. Next week, we go at Detroit, and after that we go at Minnesota. Then we play the Lions again at home, and then we go to Cleveland. So this is a must-win. It would be a great victory tonight, even though this team is at the bottom of almost every category offensively. It still would be a great victory. And Dan, I look for the Bears to really put them away tonight. And I'm talking about winning by a minimum of 21 points. That's what I see, a minimum of 21. And start it out right away. And if something isn't working offensively, midway through the second quarter, make changes. Change your offensive game plan. Go to plan B, whatever that would be. You cannot continue with the same game plan like we did last week. For us not to adjust the second half and get that kid out of the pocket instead of dropping him back. That was just poor coaching is what it was. Okay, so we got a chance to start something right now on the back half of this schedule, and why not tonight? And just be convincing about it. Let's not squeak by, Danny. Let's go after them tooth and nail, and let's nail them from the beginning, and let's pound them into the ground.
Well, there's no mystery about it. All we have to have is our offensive coordinator genius, Luke Getsy, dust off the Las Vegas Raider game plan, put that baby on the field, and let's go, Andy.
All right, it's going to be Tyson Bagent to make the start once again here for the Bears. We're going to get more into that coming up in just a few moments. Hampton OB is sponsored by your local Chevy dealers at ChevyDriveChicago.com.
Andy, with Bagent, what they have to do, let's go to the intermediate the short, the intermediate passes. Once in a while, let's hit him on a fly pattern or a deep post, but get him out of the pocket right from the get-go. Get that kid moving. He's an accurate passer. That's a great thing, and he can read defenses. Don't put him back in the pocket where he can get clobbered because of our 5 offensive linemen. Get him out of the pocket. Let that kid play football like he knows how to play football, and we will win this game easy.
Bears and Panthers coming up tonight from Soldier Field. More of Hampton OB coming your way in here in just a few moments. Let's first get a check of the traffic and the weather from Mary Vanderbilt.
And clear skies, 54 tonight, clear with a low of 35. Tomorrow, sunny, high of 50. Traffic has been just terrible this afternoon on all of the expressways. You may want to avoid the Stevenson at all costs. They already blocked off inbound earlier for the presidential motorcade. He is downtown now, the president, and will no doubt be headed outbound on the Stevenson. So you may want to just be aware of that and plan accordingly. Right now, the outbound Stevenson is about an hour and 10 minutes. It is open, however. The outbound side of the Eisenhower is not much better. That's an hour and 5 minutes to Mannheim. Kennedy is 45 minutes out to the airport, but an hour 25 inbound. Inbound in the Eden's 50 minutes from Lake Cook Road. Also, solid traffic on the Tri-State, mostly southbound from Dempster all the way to Ogden. Solid traffic on 355 as well because of a northbound north of Lake Stall that is in the center lane. On I-80, some heavy delays Hobart to Richards eastbound. On top of all this, on the west side, we have a protest activity going on, Ashland and Hubbard. I'm Mary Vanderbilt from the ChevyDriveChicago.com Traffic Center.
Big thanks to Rosebud Restaurants for the great game day meals they've been providing. The Chicago Stable serving up century-old recipes at each of their 8 locations. They experience the iconic Rosebud on Taylor Street. Stop by Rosetta Italiana in the Loop at Rosebud on Rush or warm up after the game.
Use promo code DR15.
If he's not medically cleared, well, how come doubtful versus out?
Yeah, just to see. We got to give him one more day. But he's working hard, and it's getting better every day, so we'll see where it goes.
He's not playing tomorrow.
Yeah, he's not playing.
Hampton OB is sponsored by your local Chevy dealer, ChevyDriveChicago.com. Put a Chevy Silverado in your toolbox. That is the head coach of the Chicago Bears, Matt Eberflus, earlier this week.
One thing, the reason why I think the Bears can really put this team away tonight, obviously they got to have a great mental attitude going into this game. But, folks, Carolina Panthers, their quarterback, Bryce Young, who was the number 1 draft choice, okay, Pro Football Focus, they grade him out as the 34th quarterback in this league. There's only 32 teams, folks. He's ranked 34th. 34th, their quarterback that we're facing tonight. We can make it happen, guys. This, Dan, that number is astonishing to me.
Well, and again,
I mean, the number 1 draft choice,
yeah,
and he's quarterback for this team, and there's only 32 teams in the league, and he's ranked 34th?
You know
how do you accomplish that?
Well, Frank Reich, I think, is a quality guy, great NFL mind. It just hasn't worked. They don't have. Think about this, folks. This is a team without weapons. They don't have their number 1 target, Adam Thielen. We saw him for years up in Minnesota. He basically runs out of the slot, has twice the targets of any other receiver. Kyler Gordon will probably draw him tonight in the slot. All that being said, you know, it's about getting after this kid and you know, playing NFL defense. All I can tell you is he has struggled many times this year. 3 different games, he's had at least 2 interceptions. That is the type of defensive pressure we hope to be able to mount with our $100 million defensive lineman, Montez Sweat, in his first start where he is expected to play a majority of the plays.
Well, this is the perfect game, and boy, did we need a team like the Panthers to play. We're at home. We've been, oh my God, what a god-awful year this has been so far, and I put most of it on the coaches, this entire coaching staff, starting with Eberflus. They've come up with the wrong defenses. They come up with the wrong offensive sets. They don't make adjustments at halftime, Danny. And this game is all about adjustments. My God, if it's not working, you don't have a bazillion games to get it right, a bazillion quarters, or a bazillion innings to figure something out. It's now. It's immediately. You've got to be ready. You got to have plan B ready to go, plan C ready to go. And this kid, again, let me say it again, folks, they've got him ranked 34th quarterback in the National Football League. And again, there's only 32 teams. So we're not playing a juggernaut here, folks.
Let's get the current odds on some key matchups this week. According to Circus Sports Illinois, the Bears, they're 3.5-point favorites over the Panthers tonight at Soldier Field. The total for the game, 38. You can also bet on who will be the first to score in the game tonight. Roshan Johnson plus 1,700 on that prop. DJ Moore is plus 825. Other early lines this week, Vikings 3-point home underdogs to the Saints. The Packers are getting 3.5 points on the road at Pittsburgh. Lions 3-point favorites at the Chargers with a total of 48.5 in that one. The biggest spread on the board right now is the Cowboys favored 17 over the New York Giants. Bet like the pros, the world's largest sports book, right at your fingertips. The Circus Sports app is now available in Illinois. Now you can download, fund, and bet like a pro from anywhere in Illinois. Well, we're going to see Tyson Bagent again tonight, as we heard from that clip from head coach Matt Eberflus, who was, I think, confusing himself as to whether or not he was going to talk about Fields playing tonight. We'll find out what Bagent learned from that last game against the Saints.
And I think it'll be a lot. Folks, the easiest correction in life is when you do make a mistake, you know what you did wrong. And so look at what was possible for this offense in the first half. We were 6 of 10 on third down. 6 of 10. In the second half, we're 6 of 9. In the second half, we went 0 for 3. So we never got anything going. None of the clever movement of the quarterback that you love, OB, getting him out of the pocket. 3 different times they moved him out onto the left flank. Once he ran, twice he completed passes for first downs. All those different facets we got away from in the second half and went 0 for 3 and wound up losing the game. So, yes, not only the initial game plan and execution, but the critical adjustments that hopefully we will make if indeed they are able to stop us. I don't think they will. I don't. This is a team without some of their best players out for injury. Burns, their defensive lineman, is an exceptional player. He's not going to play tonight. So I think, again, go back. What did we do against the Raiders? We ran the ball. Bagent was very efficient on second, third down, getting the ball into his playmakers' hands. A lot of good things happened.
Well, here, Bagent, Danny, and to our listeners, every game that he's played, his first 3 quarters of football, first 3 quarters, he has a rating of 96.1. In the fourth quarter, he has a rating of 26.7. 26.7. So what we got to do is keep that 96 rating, try to get that a little harder, and get it through for 4 quarters. And what that just tells me with those ratings, Dan, and where he ranks, to me, that falls back on the coaches. Why? No adjustments, Danny.
Exactly.
No adjustments, folks. It's not a mystery. And I'm sitting there. This guy gets you, our offensive coordinator. I don't know what his thinking is, Dan. My God, and especially last week, they never moved that kid in the third quarter or the fourth quarter, never moved him out of the pocket. And there were so many things that they could have done to get a victory last week and get something going and get some momentum going, and they never changed, Danny. That's the thing that it irritates me beyond whatever. I mean, my God, what are they thinking about? There's 28 of these coaches there. Can anybody figure this out in 4 quarters of football? Come on.
Well, if you look back, the fourth quarter against Minnesota was a disaster. The fourth quarter against the Chargers.
We don't do any damn changes, Dan.
And the fourth quarter last week, those 3 quarters, if you look at the sum total of his 200-plus plays, there's been about 7 disasters. All 7 of those have occurred while he's in the pocket in the later stages of the game. Hey, don't have to be a genius to figure out what you got to do.
Danny, I don't understand. And that's even with Fields. Get Fields out of the pocket, okay? Now he goes down and Bagent comes in. And if it just jumps out at you. And what jumps out at you is no adjustments, Danny. No adjustments. What are you coaches getting paid for?
We're going to delve into that more coming up after the news. Hampton OB, sponsored by your local Chevy dealers at ChevyDriveChicago.com. Hey, have you ordered from Second City Prime yet? You have been hearing about them all season long, and because you listen to this show, you'll get 10% off your order. Just use promo code WGN10 at checkout. Plus, you'll get free shipping on orders of $150 or more. Second City Prime Steak and Seafood is the best you will ever put on that grill. They exclusively source the top 2% of USDA prime beef. This is not the same overpriced steak you find in your grocery store. Second City Prime owners Chris and Susie search the globe for the best prime steak, the very best filet mignon, Japanese Wagyu, Australian Wagyu, bone-in ribeye, porterhouse, New York strip, and you're going to love their burgers as well. The flavor, the tenderness, they will blow your mind. Visit secondcityprime.com right now. You'll get 10% off your order just using promo code WGN10 at checkout. Orders ship the same day, or you can pick up at Northbrook.
Now back to the Hampton OB Show, sponsored by your local Chevy dealers.
Hampton OB indeed, sponsored by your local Chevy dealer, ChevyDriveChicago.com. Put a Chevy Silverado in your toolbox. Let's get our contestant real quick, and then I know OB wants to make a statement here, so let me get our contestant for our Raising the Stakes, which is sponsored by Second City Prime Steak and Seafood. If the Bears win, you win. If the Bears win today's game, you can win a $300 gift card to Second City Prime Steak and Seafood. Be caller 7 right now, 312-981-7200. You can be our contestant and also order today at secondcityprime.com. OB?
Yeah, folks, in the passing game tonight, if we use DJ Moore, Darnell Mooney, and Cole Kmet, our three guys, all 4 quarters, we can't get enough of them. If we do that, we will win this game. And just to add on to this a little bit, DJ Moore, our wideout, he averages almost 16 yards a catch and almost 82 yards a game. Almost 16 yards a catch, folks. And he's had 47 receptions so far this year. So again, with DJ Moore, Darnell Mooney, and Cole Kmet, we can crush this team if we get a legitimate passing game, get the kid out of the pocket, move it, and be smart about it. We can win this football game easy.
So I asked you guys before the last break how much Tyson Bagent may have learned from the interception experience. Hamp, how much has Luke Getsy learned about Tyson Bagent going forward here? Because it doesn't look like he's learned as quickly as the kid has.
You know, we started the season kind of saying, hey, we got to find out about Justin Fields. Well, the same thing applies to Tyson Bagent. And a smart offensive coordinator will understand, you know, the do's and don'ts, that what's possible, what maybe isn't possible. All that being said, you know, and we'll talk about Justin Fields, you know, the rest of the season. But for tonight, it's imperative that Tyson Bagent not only stays clean, but he plays a clean game. Think about this. In the first half last week, he was 10 of 13, 149 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he had rushed for 60 yards. 60 yards. So if you extrapolate that, what would he, thrown for 300 yards and rushed for 120? If we would have kept that same type of game plan and got the same type of results. But it's imperative that we do see development in this kid. Folks, think about this. Tommy DeVito, the kid that played down at Illinois, he will start this Sunday against the Dallas Cowboys. He will be the 10th rookie quarterback to start this season. And we're only halfway. He will be the 10th. Now, think about this. That's the most since 1950. That's before you play in, OB. So, depth and quality at the quarterback position has got to be, at a premium. All that being said, that Tyson Bagent is one of those kids that has made a career out of learning the ropes. And he came into training camp, beat out Peterman. P.J. Walker was sent down the road because they saw this kid has an aptitude. He has a knack. He knows how to play this position. Hopefully, they will call the proper offensive plays and schematics that will let him play well.
Dan, greatly said, Dan. That was just great what you just said. And just to add on to that, folks, you get this kid out of the pocket. I'm going to tell you, one of his strengths he has, I'm talking about Bagent, our young quarterback, he reads the field. He knows where his receivers are. So if you spread him out to the weak side or to the strong side and he's on the run, he knows where to look. All you have to do is look at last week's game, and you could just see him as he's running. When he did run, you could see him. He's viewing the field, the entire field. So this is a plus for this kid to move him out of the pocket. And again, we have three, I think, more than quality receivers and more. Darnell Mooney and Cole Kmet. They are difference makers. Let's use them. Let's move the pocket. Danny, I'm really looking forward to this game tonight. I want to see, what we've been doing here for almost 2 years with this coaching staff, all we've done is fail, and fail. Okay? Let's change it. Let's get smart coaches. Let's put the players in a proper position and get that quarterback out of the pocket.
Hampton OB sponsored by your local Chevy dealers at ChevyDriveChicago.com. We'll have more coming up here in just a moment as we get you ready for the Bears and the Panthers coming up from Soldier Field. First, we'll take a quick time out here for a traffic and weather break with Mary Vanderbilt.
Clear skies, 52 tonight, clear with a low of 35. Sunny tomorrow with a high of 50. Presidential motorcade is on the move once again. The outbound Ryan now closed off from the Byrne interchange out to 55. No doubt.
I think everything is going great. I think aside from obviously the ugly parts with turning the ball over, never want to do that. But as far as like the growth is concerned, I feel like this opportunity has allowed me the chance to grow at an extremely rapid pace.
Hampton OB sponsored by your local Chevy dealer, ChevyDriveChicago.com. The words of Tyson Bagent, who to me, this kid gets it. He understands what's going on here. He understands his role, and he understands that he needs to improve to be able to help this football team.
Well, it's called coaching, I think.
Yeah.
There's only so much you can do as a player, and why are you paying these coaches millions of dollars and hundreds of thousands of dollars, and we have two victories so far this year. Shameful.
Well, again, and it will be imperative to get off to a quick start. It was funny. I looked at some of the stats about teams around the league and what they have tried to do on offense. And think about this. The Cincinnati Bengals have won 4 in a row, and they are red hot. And they started off, I think, 0-3. And yet, their offense, the last 3 games, their offense has scored on both of its opening possessions a touchdown. And essentially overwhelming the opponent, putting them in a hole, putting them in a do-or-die situation, and creating panic on that side of the line. And that would be something that I would love to see this offense. And hopefully we won't get the Getsy goulash tonight with the speed sweeps and the speed screens and all this lateral. Throw the ball down the field. We opened up last week a 75-yard touchdown drive. And Bagent was more than up to the task. First play of the game, remember what it was, OB? It was a 13-yard quick slant to Mooney. The next play, a 16-yard over-the-top crossing route to DJ Moore. And then it went on down, and that's when they threw the ball up in the end zone to your favorite player, Cole Kmet, who, by the way, OB, the last 19 games he has played for the Bears, he has 12 touchdown catches. So he is making a move from a garden variety NFL starter to becoming one of those elite tight ends. We need to see an awful lot of him tonight as well.
For us to win tonight or any game, I'm going to tell you again, folks, this isn't an I think. You've got to get DJ Moore, Darnell Mooney, and Cole Kmet involved in every series that we have. If you get these 3 gentlemen involved in a passing pattern, whether it's bootleg, sprint outs, or it's a drop back, we will win football games. We will be attacking the field over the middle, on fly patterns, whatever you want to call it. And that's what we should do. If we start out and we don't start hitting these 3 guys, I don't know. We will not win this damn football game. We won't. They've got to get these people involved every series of every quarter that we play. They have to be the main guys.
Well, back to the Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Mixon had been a big part of the resurgence resurgence of that offense. And yet last week, Buffalo said, we're going to stop him. Well, it didn't matter. T. Higgins and the rest of the receivers ate him alive.
There you go.
Because if you take something away, you make the adjustment. Let's see.
You got to have a coach that can figure that out, Dan.
Well, we've got 28 of them. You got any volunteers? Well, I didn't think so.
Don't get me started on these coaches. Oh, my God.
But, folks, again, it's going to be a total, what I think Eberflus has always called the team concept kind of a thing, where you get the running game, you don't turn the ball over, and your defense plays great. Our defense has moved into the top 3 against the run. And remember, folks, this was a critical part of our demise the last couple of years. We were dead last in the league stopping the run. Well, now we've moved into the top 3 stopping the run. So that, obviously foretells an offense going to have to throw. And we've talked about it at the top of the show. Bryce Young, he is not competent enough in the nuances of NFL passing offense to be a real threat. We need to come after him early as much as possible. And again, try to jump out to a big lead and see what they do and let them worry about the adjustments rather than say, "Ooh, I wonder if we can adjust." No, turn it around, make them have to adjust.
There you go, Danny. Great statement.
Kind of curious, too, to see if Velus Jones is part of the active roster here tonight. We don't have the inactives yet. We should get those shortly. But the penalty, and it was even called out during the week.
Yeah. And Velus Jones obviously is playing, on barred time because he was the very first offensive player drafted by the new general manager, Ryan Poles. All that being said, you start looking at, like I said, Bagent, and everybody, half the city wants to say, "Oh, we're sick of him. Put Justin Fields." Hey, of the 200-plus plays, he's only had a handful of really bad plays. Velus Jones, on the other hand, has a litany. It's a trail of tears of turnovers, mistakes, penalties, fumbles, all these different aspects. If he does get time tonight, talking about somebody that's on, living on borrowed time, he could be the guy. But all I know is, we go into every game, we look at their quarterback, we look at ours. We look at their offense, we look at ours. We look at their defense, we compare. Their coach is a guy that I mentioned earlier, Frank Reich, has been around this league a long time. Good player in his own right. I didn't know, but he spent 7 years in the seminary. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yes, he became a pastor. Let's say, if he wants to say a prayer for Velus Jones tonight, we'll take that. But otherwise, we don't want to give him a prayer.
Okay, what should we do offensively against this team tonight? We should establish the run game, okay? Establish the run game, then you come with play action. And with play action, you can drop back with play action, but you can also bootleg out to the stronger, to the weak side from play action, or you can just sprint out. They should give this team a beating with that for 4 quarters today, a beating. And what is open and what Dan has been talking about all year, folks, the slants. We've got DJ Moore. You can use Cole Kmet. You can put him at a wideout. Use him on a slant with his big body. Darnell Mooney. I'd love to see him catch Darnell Mooney with his speed. He'd be long gone. So let's get those guys involved. Let's go to play action. Let's run the football. Let's move out of the pocket. This isn't, and I think, I'm telling you, if we can do that, folks, utilize these 3 guys, move that pocket, get Bagent, because he can read defenses. He's pretty sharp with that. We can win this football game, and we can win it easy. That's my belief, Dan.
Now, walk away. Again, this is a win-win, and the running game opens play action, which opens up the boot. Here we go. Let's rock.
Throw the slant.
Bears and the Panthers coming up from Soldier Field shortly, and we'll be back with our post-game show coming up right after that game. And we'll have plenty of time for your phone calls after the ball game as well. Blackhawks hockey coming your way here shortly on 720 WGN. Hampton OB, sponsored by your local Chevy dealers. ChevyDriveChicago.com. Put a Chevy Silverado in your toolbox. Hey, big thanks to Rosebud Restaurants for the fantastic game day meals. This Chicago staple is serving up century-old recipes at each of their 8 locations. Experience the iconic Rosebud on Taylor Street. Stop by Rosetta Italiana in the Loop, Rosebud on Rush, or warm up after a game at Rosebud on Randolph. Don't forget about Rosebud Deerfield, Lamont, Naperville, and Carmine's Rosemont. Now's the time to plan your holiday party as well. Just head to rosebudrestaurants.com, click on the events tab, and let.
And is in command of what they're doing.
Fake to Foreman, pass is caught. DJ Moore, who played with Carolina last year and was part of that big trade, picks up 16.
Not knowing he would eventually become that guy. Evaluation on Bryce Young.
3rd down and 5. Again, in a scramble and run for a first. Young has run for first downs on the prior 2 3rd down plays. This time he fires it out of bounds from the 23-yard line. Mooney in motion. Bajan throws, and that is incomplete.
They're going to try to stop the run. They're one of the best in the league, and they want to establish the run on their side. We got to match that physicality.
Trenton Gill fields at the 24, escapes. Nice run back. Only one man to beat. And Gill down the sideline, skirting the sidelines, and takes it all the way in corner tonight. Poodle will see more playing time. 3rd down and 7. Flushed out, fires, and the pass is incomplete. From 54, and that one is inside the left. Can I tell you? And the inside end around to Tyler Scott. Third and 20. Catch made here by Roshan Johnson.
Sexiest men alive, I think.
Yeah. 3rd down and 10. Swallowed it up at the 2-yard line. Jeff Lurie took over back in the mid-90s. 3rd down and 5, so a lot of stability. And then picking up the... Going deep downfield. Contested.
Don't get me wrong, we had our share of mistakes, but we had few enough that we were able to pull out the victory.
Bears going for it on 4th down and 4, trying to keep the drive alive, and they do. Able to handle the errant snap, and then the pass is incomplete. And he does. Fakes the throw, runs for big time of possession advantage. 37 plays to 24. And that pass is caught along. Again, very deep drop. Pass underneath to the 30-yard line, and inside goes Komet, and he stops the... Legit. Look out from behind. Avoids the sack, holds on to the ball, slot. 39-yard attempt now. And that kick is good. So 3 field goals for him. As the Panthers begin this drive out of the pistol formation, to the outside goes Sanders, and he gets taken down in the backfield. Kyler Gordon, one number 6, takes down the other. And Bryce, of course, threw those 2 pick sixes last week. 3rd and 10. Under pressure, he's going to go down back. Meanwhile, to the outside, Komet. And Komet. 1st and goal. Pass broken up. Intended for Mooney. Give it to Foreman. And he's in. Deontay Foreman takes it in for the touchdown. Nothing. Crowd doesn't like the call, but on 3rd and 19, what are you going to do? 2nd and 27 as we start the 4th. Young checks it down to the outside. And working his way into Chicago territory goes Chuba Hubbard. Young hanging in, look out. Gets hit at the end, finally checks it off to Hubbard. Trying to kick a field goal, but this time they have to go for it, at least line up for it, and they are going to go for it on 4th down. Young escapes, Young throws, Young with a flag thrown. That is caught that time by Tommy Tremble. Seventh play of the drive. Young in the pocket, under pressure, throws incomplete. Coverage is right there. Made one tonight from 33. This one is right down the middle.
But it's easy. It's easy to look at it through a vacuum lens.
Aging throwing, open. There's Komet. Pressure, has to get it away. Caught, but stopped in his tracks. Deion Jones makes the tackle. Rush 4. Caught. Keep the drive alive. Another. Pressure again. And almost intercepted, then juggled and incomplete for Eddie Pinheiro. Pinheiro's kick is no good.
Bring him back. But they've got enough pieces on defense to be a threat in a lot of the games they play.
3rd and 7, and that's going to cement it. Bears who figured to win the game by about 3, and that's exactly what they did. If you know what I mean. I know you know what I mean.
I sure do. And I always marvel at it. We get outside after the game. I'm like, how's that happen?
It just fluctuates. I mean, it fluctuates a little bit. So I say about 3.
Yeah.
.720 WGN. Good evening. I'm John Landecker. I found myself earlier, as a matter of fact, let me see if I can get back to it, in no man's land, because I never go on the air after 10 o'clock. And I was sorry. Oh, yeah. Here I am again. I got myself into no man's land, and sometimes I don't know how to get back. I have to look for the door back to the real studio. Oh, wait. Over there. I see a light underneath the door. Hold on. Let me see if I can get this door open and get back to reality. Wait, hold it. Here we go. Yeah. Ah, good. Hey, come on. I got to do something. It's 10 minutes after 10 here at 720 WGN. As soon as the Bears game is over, we will be joining Andy Mazer and Hampton OB. And I'll just keep my comments about the Bears off the air until we go over to those guys, because I don't know what the actual... I don't want to break any rules. You know what I mean? It's just not worth it right now. But it's literally seconds away. And I will tell you, it's coming down to 30 seconds. So unless something unbelievable happens, the Bears will have a victory 16-13. And it looked like it might go into overtime, but the Panthers missed a field goal in their last possession. So, you know, the clock's ticking down, and the game apparently is over because everybody's out onto the field, so that would signify it's over. So that says, for me to say, Andy Mazer, along with Hampton OB, are coming up next on 720 WGN.
Chicago's very own WGN.
Hampton OB.
You guys have the best football show in America. I'm talking 48 contiguous states and Alaska and Hawaii.
You are correct, sir.
28 coaches. We've won 2 games. 2 games.
Mason steps up over the middle and intercepted again. And it's a Debo again. His second of the day.
I think I was late to the one to Mooney, and I think that I was on time to the one to Tyler. Just good coverage, a little bit behind him, which is all me.
The last 2 coaching staffs we've had here, there are not words to describe these people. They know nothing. Nothing.
In my mind, I'm gone to Carolina.
Hampton OB, sponsored by your local Chevy dealers at ChevyDriveChicago.com.
I just want to know one thing, OB.
What time is it?
It's go time.
Go Bears!
Hampton OB, sponsored by your local Chevy dealer, ChevyDriveChicago.com. Andy Mazer alongside the fellas after a 16-13 Bears victory over the Carolina Panthers. And it was a less than thrilling game. Let's put it to you that way.
What the hell was that?
It was ugly.
What the hell was that? Folks, let me tell you something, and I'm not kidding. You're at home. You got a better roster, a better team against a talentless bunch of riffraff, And it comes down to just, scratching at the end. Are you kidding me? What the hell was that? And I'm telling you, I've had enough of this Eberflus nonsense. Getsy, the whole bunch. That defense, and I got it. Okay, they got a punt return for a touchdown, and then we held them to 3 field goals or whatever it was. It doesn't matter. When it mattered, we were not up to it. We couldn't stop them, and we're lucky by the skin of our teeth they didn't get that field goal at the end. Folks, this game, I wrote down it set the NFL back 20 years. No, it set it back 50 years. 50. This was pathetic, disgusting, and I'm sick. All pregame, OB and I sat there and watched, the Fox people. Oh, this offensive line and Tevin Jenkins. They got his butt kicked all over the place. And, our $100 million pass rusher, he didn't do anything. Nothing. And I'm telling you, the schematics of the defense were awful. This little midget quarterback couldn't do anything except when the line opened like the Red Sea in front of him, he threw it to Thielen over the middle. Time after time after time. I'm telling you, that was sickening.
Well, Danny, there's not too much that I could argue with you about what you've just said. That game that was a 1-7 where Carolina came in? 1-7, and we were a 2-7 team playing tonight on national television. And I'll tell you what, these two teams, folks, just looking at it from offense to offense and defense to defense, this game was just god-awful. Just god-awful. I mean, but, okay, so like happiness and kudos to the Bears. They finally won a game. We finally won a game, but we won a game against a team that I don't recall. I don't know if I've ever seen an offense quite that bad for 4 quarters. I mean, they showed nothing. Carolina showed nothing in the running game, in the short passing game, intermediate passing game, in the deep passing game. Absolutely nothing. And what Danny alluded to in his opening volley was that Bryce Young, my God, I for 4 quarters, there were so many avenues that were wide open for him to run that football. He could have ran for, my God, 15, 20, 30 yards. I couldn't tell you, folks, how many times. Maybe you people saw that also. And he never ran, basically not one time did he take off when he could have. I don't understand that like a coach can't sit him down, and his passes were late and they were behind his receivers. And this kid was the number 1 pick. Folks, that kid, I can tell you this, Danny. Listen, this isn't.
I really don't care about him.
This couldn't be the first bad game this guy's ever played. That kid was terrible.
He was worse last week. But the point being is, it's about us and us taking care of business the way we are supposed to take care of it. And we played down. We got into a fist fight with a pig.
Danny, it was a horrible game. I mean, there's no way that I could defend the Bears. Their coaching, our Bears coaching, nothing has changed there. Their play selection. I mean, this game was, I'm going to tell you, this was a horrible football game. If you're a true football fan and want to see something really happen, my God, we're on the back half of the season of 23, and this is the kind of football on national television. My God, you have quarterbacks that are very questionable, that are on both teams. You have offensive linemen that are supposed to be good, supposed to be this, supposed to be that, and they're not. They're horrible. This was, for me, it was, I tell you what, I couldn't wait till the game got over with. It was just terrible. It really was. But again, somebody had to win. The Bears won. They won at home. So congratulations to the Bears for that. But that's about as far as I'm going to go with that one.
It was such a bad game, even on national television. The second quarter was dedicated to Jason Kelsey, who made an appearance in the booth, and they talked. It was like the Kelsey cast for a quarter. That's how bad this game was. Nobody really wanted to talk about it, and I don't blame them, to be honest with you. It was terrible.
Could you imagine? They bring in the center from the Philadelphia Eagles
on a bye week,
fly him into Chicago, okay, and have him talk for, I don't know, a quarter or two with the announcers about the Eagles or whatever, and about his brother and whatever. Are you kidding me?
Well, they brought him in to be a deodorant against what was on the on the actual screen, and they needed it.
Yeah,
because it was pathetic.
It was awful.
Guys, what my point is this: okay, they won a game. They won a game. If this was the very first game that Eberflus and this clown show coached, I would still be upset, but I'd say, okay, this is a beginning. This is a start. We have now seen this nonsense for 27 games. And you're going to tell me that we have made progress? We have become a better football team than what we were when we kicked off the season a year ago? Are you going to tell me that? This was pathetic. Let's get to the calls.
Danny, I couldn't argue with you. They've gone backwards. Even though there was a win tonight, folks, you people that love the game, you saw it just series after series, quarter after quarter. My God, how bad could two teams play a game of football in the year 2023 in the National Football League? You just saw it tonight. Pathetic. Just pathetic.
All right, our phone number 312-981-7200. If you want to join the conversation here, talk a little Bears football with Hampton OB. Let us start out with Mark in Broadview. Mark, you're up with Hampton OB. Go ahead.
Okay, guys. I'm going to make this real short and sweet. Getsy's offense, it's like arthritis. I mean, it's painful and it's stiffness all over your body except where you need it. And we can't put it in the end zone. And I need to see Dr. OB.
Mark, we can't score touchdowns. I mean, our most valuable player is who? Our field goal kicker. He kicks the ball, out of the end zone, so they can't return it. He very seldom. I mean, the kid really doesn't miss field goals and extra points. And could you imagine if we didn't have Santos on this football team? Think about what I'm just telling you. If we didn't have him on this football team, would we even win a game? Would we even win a game?
312-981-7200. And let's head back out to the telephone lines and bring in Mike from Evergreen, Colorado. Mike, you're up with Hampton OB. Go ahead, bud.
Hey, Hampton OB, first-time caller. Love the show. I want to run by something to Hamp about possible new coaches for the Bears because I agree with OB. We need new coaching yesterday. What about Leslie Frazier? I know he's available. Ron Rivera's probably going to be available, and Jim Harbaugh. I want to know what your opinion is on that. And when's the last time the Bears won 2 games in a row? Thanks, guys.
All right. Thanks, Mike.
All right. I love Les Frazier. He's a dear, dear friend. Folks.
He's a good man. Man.
This guy here next to me has said this for the last 5, 7, 8 years that we've been doing this show. This game is about offense. It's about exploitation of defenses, being smarter than the opponent on offense and scheming them. And if you have some special players, then you got a chance for it to take off. So it has to be an offensive-minded coach. Has to be an offensive-minded coach. Now, who is going to be available? I don't know. But all I can tell you is I've seen all I want to see out of this bunch.
Hey, let me just real quickly here. You got when the game ended, the Bears won this game. They scored 16 points. And they beat a team who's only won 1 game up to this point, and they scored 14 points. 4 quarters of football. 2 horrible teams that can't play offense, they can't play defense. And look what you saw. Look what you saw for 4 quarters. And how are these guys What are they going to do? Back up to the paycheck line then and put their hands behind them and just try to grab the check and run out the door?
You know, this Eberflus's hits principle and all that, it's a joke.
Oh, don't even talk to me about this guy.
It's a joke. Let me tell you something. In the fourth quarter, late, I think 5.5 minutes left, we had the ball. We're clinging to a 3-point lead. We're clinging to a 3-point lead that we desperately need to make a couple of first downs, burn the clock, and stop this idiot show. But we can't do it. You know why? We have to throw a check down on 3rd and 5, and Lucas Patrick, the center, is loafing so bad he can't get out there and block a linebacker that took off running from the free safety position, and it makes the tackle on Foreman for a loss. He's loafing so it's from top to bottom. It's unacceptable. And if you're going to tell me a magic wand's going to be waved over this idiocy, and all of a sudden we're going to go to Detroit and beat the Lions, you're going to tell me that this what we saw tonight will match up in 10 days against Detroit, in Detroit? You're telling me that? There's not a chance in hell. I've seen enough.
Well, again, Danny, you're pretty fired up here, buddy boy, and rightfully so, rightfully so. And I'm going to tell you, this coaching staff, which I had mentioned before, this one and the prior one, Nagy, I've been around for quite a while. I've seen some bad coaches and some bad coaching staffs, some bad head coaches. These two guys, Nagy and Eberflus, they take the cake. They win it in a runaway. This coaching staff and Nagy's coaching, I don't even know if Nagy's guys, if any of them are still in football. But I'm going to tell you, that game tonight, we scored 16 points, and we struggled mightily, folks. Do you understand that? We struggled mightily just to get a first down. To get a first down. To continue to move the ball down the field. We couldn't do that. I'll tell you what. Dan, I know that what is there like about 10 days now before we go to Detroit, and then there's going to be some tough games coming up here. I think this is for the next several games. There's going to be some really tough teams that we're going to have to play very, very hard, very flawless football to even stay with them in a game. But to score 16 points against this pathetic team, I tell you what, and win a game, it's to me, I don't know, I'm losing words here.
By the way, the answer to that question, when the last time they won back-to-back games, was weeks 16 and 17 of 2021. So it's been almost 2 calendar years since they won put back-to-back games together. Yeah.
Wow.
So that's the story. If you're there on hold, please stay there. We'll get to you after the news.
It's Wendy Snyder in for Bob Surratt. We'll talk Bears with good old number 99 Dan Hampton. We'll get to lose first call, and I get to rifle through Bob's record collection once again.
It all starts tomorrow morning at 6 on the Bob Surratt Show.
WGN. Bears going for it on 4th down and 4, trying to keep the drive alive, and they do to the 22-yard line. The pass is caught there by Tyler Scott.
Hampton will be sponsored by your local Chevy dealer, ChevyDrivesChicago.com.
I just want to jump in here real quick. And just, we were talking about, Dan had a lot to say, and I was just, how pathetic this game was. In the 60 minutes of football tonight, the Bears won. Again, congratulations. But, folks, you know what we did here? We scored 1 touchdown on offense, and the Panthers scored none. The game was 16-13. They ran a punt back for a touchdown. They played 4 quarters and did not score 1 touchdown. We played 4 quarters and we scored 1 touchdown. Let me say it one more time. Panthers did not score in 4 quarters an offensive touchdown. And the Bears in 4 quarters scored 1 touchdown. How pathetic can you be?
How pathetic can the players be? How pathetic can the coaches be? How bad can they play? That, I'm telling you, I'm not making this up. The Panthers, in 60 minutes of football, never scored an offensive touchdown. And in 4 quarters, we scored 1 touchdown. Getsy, you are the absolute worst.
312-981-7200. To the phones we go. Let's go out to Chicago and say hi to Charles. Charles, you're up with Hampton OB. Go ahead.
Hey, guys. Congratulations on the win. Believe me, I know it feels like when you got to watch your teams win ugly, but I guess you take what you get. But I also want to add real quickly, too, on the previous caller, because I thought about Jim Harbaugh and want to hear what your thoughts, chances would be on him becoming a Chicago Bear, depending on what comes out with the sign stealing scandal with the University of Michigan being investigated by the Big Ten. We'll see if there's something there. But the thing I will say about Jim Harbaugh, what the Chicago Bears need right now and need badly, because you look at a guy like when you had like Lovie Smith would probably be like the next closest guy they'll point to since Mike Ditka, since George Halas, right? Well, here's what, like Mike Ditka and Lovie Smith had in common, just like George Halas, like when they took the job as like the head coach of the Chicago Bears. They at least came in there with an attitude, especially more so Mike Ditka. Like when he first interviewed Halas, he was asked by him, like, what's your attitude, like, for this team, like your objective? He goes, like, who are you kidding? Like, my attitude is just like, here's a lot of beat the other team's butt. Well, what happened with Lovie Smith? When Lovie Smith came in here, what was one of the first things he said? He wanted to, like, beat Green Bay. You know what I'm saying? So bring, like, an attitude with. And I think Jim Harbaugh can bring that and bring some pride there if everything's all clear. And plus, I think he knows how to work with many quarterbacks offensively. And one last thing I just wanted to say real quickly, and this is for you, Ed. I know Matt Nagy. I know he gets a lot of grief, believe me. And, like, I got a guy like Mike Tomlin here. Of course, he's never had a losing season. Of course, been in the playoffs quite a few times in his career. But I tell you what, though, as much as people want to trash like a guy like Matt Nagy, I tell you what, one thing, probably because he was getting the word from above, though, whenever he had the time to put a foot up some players' butts, get people motivated and going, though, guess what? At least in his 4 seasons, been to the playoffs, 2 playoff bursts, 13-11.
All right, Charles, let them answer your question about Harbaugh. Okay, we don't have as much time as you have. There,
all right,
okay?
If you're talking about new coaches in a new direction, Jim Harbaugh would be a terrific selection. And as far as that cheating and spying, all that nonsense over there, it's enough to drive him away from Michigan, which may be good for us. It may not be good for us if he goes somewhere else and comes back to haunt us. All right, let's get to the next one.
Well, just real quickly here. Jim Harbaugh's making too much money, okay? He is the king up there, and it's going to take a lot to unseat him in any avenue, however it's going to play out, okay? He is the king up there, and for him coming to the Chicago Bears or an NFL team, why would he leave what he has built there, what he has built, and he's going to leave that, and the amount of money that he gets paid, it'll never happen.
Bears
That's
win it.
My opinion.
I'll bet you.
Yeah,
okay, let's go.
Bears win it 16-13. Let's go out to Texas and welcome in Ed. Ed, up with Hampton OB. Go ahead.
Hello. Good evening, fellows. I agree with you guys that this was a pathetic performance.
Oh, God.
However, I would like to propose, Hamp likes to talk about silver lining. I would like to propose a silver lining going for the point at the end of the first half rather than run, punt. And then also the decision to have Bagent throw the ball on 3rd down at the end of the game. I would like to propose those 2 things as silver linings. And also, I think the Bears can beat the Lions because the Chargers could soften them up for the Bears. Thank you.
All right, Ed. Thank you.
You're exactly right that, instead of, just trying to run the clock out with a minute 18 or whatever it was, they put on a 9-play scoring drive for a field goal to close it to 1 point. But still, that was a silver lining, but my God, what a dark cloud we were playing under.
312-981-7200. We'll go out to Wisconsin and welcome in Dave. Dave, you're up with Hampton OB. Go ahead.
Oh, guys, no, there is no silver lining in this game at all. You guys are honest and right. I was hoping you weren't going to soft play this thing tonight because this is just a disaster. I've been a Bears fan for 70 years. Born and raised in Green Bay, and still a Bears fan.
Dave, one offensive touchdown with these two teams playing. You can't make this stuff up.
Yeah, there is no way in heck that they're going to even come close the next 4 games to any of those opponents. You have at Detroit, at Minnesota, then you come back for Detroit, and then you go to Cleveland. So we'll be 3-11. Did you hear our coach, like Trestman? Did you hear him at halftime tonight when the gal asked him, what do you got going to say? He says, I got a bunch of surprises for us in the second half. What second half surprises did he come up with? We almost got beat, guys.
You're exactly right.
Did you hear that on national TV?
Yeah.
And then now this prime channel with all these guys that know what they really think they're doing here. They had Bajan on here, and I thought they were going to hand him a game trophy or say this guy's the next Manning. He didn't do anything tonight, guys. We are going absolutely nowhere with this coaching staff, and it's really, really a shame all these years.
All right, Dave.
God
Dave,
thanks so much. We appreciate it.
Yeah, Dave, it just shows you what happened offensively. My God, against this team that's only won one game all year, they're beyond pathetic, and we're at home, and 4 quarters we score one stinking offensive touchdown. Come on.
Well, Scott is driving home from the game. We should give Scott some prizes just because he went to the game and is actually calling us. Scott, you're up with Hampton OB. Go ahead.
Hamp, this is JK's friend Scott. I want to know, as a Hall of Famer and as one of the most iconic voices in Bears players in OB, how can we give up 1st and 30, get a first down, let them get a first down to the worst offense in the NFL? I've had season tickets in my family since 1940, and I can't even watch the game anymore. You guys are the best.
Scott,
I just don't understand this.
Scott, hang on the line for a second, okay, bud?
Yeah, hey, you're exactly right. We were sitting there watching this. They got a muff punt or whatever it was. The punter, decides to blink or whatever and shank it. Now they got first and 10 on our 40. They get a 10-yard penalty, another 10-yard penalty. Now it's 3rd and 30, and I turned to OB and I said, "Watch them pick this up, and I'll be damned if they didn't pick it up." Now folks, that's what I'm talking about. For whatever reason, for us to play a close game last week down in New Orleans, evidently this roster came back thinking, it was a moral victory and we're really great and our offensive line played great. Everybody played a horrible, horrible game. And that was so, indicative of it. You give up a 1st and 30 and let them convert, you deserve to lose the football game. It was beyond sickening.
All right, Scott, we appreciate your phone call. We're going to get you a $50 gift card to Second City Prime Steak and Seafood. We also actually have a winner, and if the Bears win, you win today's game. That's a $300 gift card to Second City Prime Steak and Seafood, courtesy of our friends at SecondCityPrime.com. Ted Flisk is our winner of the $300. It'll roll back to $100 for the next pregame show ahead of the Lions game coming up a week from Sunday. So we'll look forward to that. Hampton OB is sponsored by your local Chevy dealers at ChevyDriveChicago.com. Put a Chevy Silverado in your toolbox. And by the way, we want to thank Rosebud Restaurants for the fantastic game day meal today. Another quality meal for us here this afternoon and this evening. Chicago Staples serving up Central recipes at each of their 8 locations. Experience the iconic Rosebud on Taylor Street. Stop by Rosetta Italiana The Loop, Rosebud on Rush, or warm up after the game at Rosebud on Randolph. Don't forget about Rosebud Deerfield, Lamont, Naperville, and Carmine's Rosemont. Now is time to plan your holiday parties. Just head to rosebudrestaurants.com. Click
Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois.
Hot route, hot route.
Who brought it today? Looking at which Bear played tough, played hard.
And he's in. Deontay Foreman takes it in for the touchdown. Well, they were set up nicely after the punt. They go 38 yards. It's a 4-yard touchdown. 9 plays, and Chicago takes the lead.
Hey, the Who Brought It today, sponsored by Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois, the card to bring through it all. We've decided on Deontay Foreman. 21 carries, 80 yards, and the lone offensive touchdown for the Bears.
And it was a terrific touchdown run. He almost had to do 2 spins to get into the end zone. And folks, again, the reason I'm so upset is, all around, this offensive line is playing good. Tevin Jenkins graded so. He got kicked around all night. We didn't block anybody. And Bagent, of course, thank God, they were bringing him out of the pocket as much as they were, OB. It could have been even a worse catastrophe. But for this offense, against that competition, that defense, name somebody on their defense. Name somebody.
I'm trying, yeah.
And we score one touchdown. Against
a 1-7 team, folks. You can't make this stuff up. And I'm going to tell you, I'm looking at thinking about this whole thing. The first quarter, the second quarter, the third quarter, and we're in the fourth quarter, and I'm just wondering, when is this kid Bryce run? When is he going to run? There were so many times, folks, when he could have ran through the 5 gap, or the 6 gap on the stronger, the weak side. He could have taken off. He'd still be running. He never ran one time. I'd love to ask Reich that question. Why wasn't your quarterback allowed to run? When he saw he couldn't make a pass, why didn't he run instead of forcing it or throwing the damn ball out of bounds?
Hampton will be sponsored by your local Chevy dealer, ChevyDriveChicago.com, 312-981-7200. Dave in South Florida, you are up with Hampton OB. Go ahead.
Hey, guys. Great show as always. I just wanted to piggyback on who I thought brought it, too. I thought Kyler Gordon had a great game. He had a lot of tackles for loss. He was sure-handed on tackling. But I just also wanted to piggyback, Mr. Hampton, on that drive you were mentioning. The reason why we got into that drive, and I was just furious, I was throwing stuff on my TV. The second down plays were just stupid runs up the middle. We're always playing to lose, or we're always playing not to lose, and never going after the throat on these game-winning or supposed, trying to get through the game at the end, game-winning drives. Why don't we go on a play action, get a 9 or a 10-yard pass? You get the first down, you put the pressure on them. They got to lose their timeouts, and then we wouldn't have had to go through that nonsense at the end of the game to make sure that they don't go on a game-winning drive.
Good point, Dave.
You're exactly right. And I call it the Getsy goulash. There's no rhyme, rhythm, or sense about what he is doing with an offense. And I got to tell you, I mentioned this over and over and over again. The teams that we respected had a schematical plan where they wanted to kind of play chess. And if you covered this way, then they were going to throw those routes. They're going to run. If you stop this run, then something else is open. You can't basically stop everything. So you set up the defense with a certain style of calling certain plays. It's just like, hey, well, let's throw a speed screen. Oh, hey, let's throw a bubble screen. Oh, let's hand it off to Foreman. Oh, for a 1-yard, dive up the middle. It's like I said, I've had enough. I've seen enough.
312-981-7200, the number. Let's go back out to the phones, and let's go to Austin, Texas, and say hi to Robert. Robert, you're up with Hampton OB. Go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, and thank you for taking my call. I had a chance to listen briefly to the pregame show, and I just really appreciate Dan and Ed, your passion for the Bears, wanting the Bears to be successful and win, and one can only hope that passion can be inculcated into our management and coaching staff someday. But my comment is, I noticed that Montez Sweat, our new $100 million defensive end, didn't have a sack tonight. And, in the bigger picture, and I think this was discussed a little bit last week, I looked at his career stats. He averages 7 sacks a year. And, one would think for $100 million, that type of salary would require someone to be in the double digits every year, almost Hall of Fame caliber. And
no question.
And I think, and so, I just like to contrast that approach by Poles with, a former general manager of the Bears, Jim Finks, who was really a shrewd businessman and made a lot of good personnel decisions. I don't know if you remember Wally Chambers from the 70s with the Bears.
Defensive tackle.
Yes, he was a number 1 draft pick of 73. He was defensive rookie in the year. He was all pro for 5 years straight. 1976, he was defensive player of the year. Not defensive lineman of the year, but defensive player of the year. He had 14 sacks. And if you look at tape of the guy, he was just awesome. I mean, he would run through and around, Hall of Fame guards like Gene Upshaw of the Raiders. But after 76, he hurt his knee in the Pro Bowl, and he got arthritis under his kneecap. He couldn't play anymore, which was sad because he's a Hall of Fame caliber player. And but Jim Finks shrewdly negotiated a trade with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for a first-round draft pick for Wally Chambers, and he got Bob Moore, a tight end, also. And guess who Jim Finks drafted with that first-round draft pick that he got for Wally Chambers? Dan Hampton, 1979. So that just showed, he totally outmaneuvered, the Tampa Bay on that trade. And then Richard Dent's another example, another Hall of Famer for the Bears. At 83, I remember reading that Bill Tobin had him ranked as the number 1 pass rusher in the draft out of Tennessee State. But teams were wary of drafting him because he was light. I think he only weighed 225 pounds. And Tobin did his research, and he found out that the reason he couldn't gain weight is he had problems with his teeth. And so they drafted him in the 8th round, and they got his teeth fixed. He put on 40 pounds and became, the rest is history, a Hall of Fame defensive end for the Bears. And that's what the Bears need. They need.
Robert, we have to get to the news here, but we have to get to the news. So, but thanks for your call. We appreciate it.
Okay.
312.
Good information.
Yeah, definitely good information.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not to cut him short, but we got to get to the news. Hampton OB is sponsored by your local Chevy dealers at ChevyDriveChicago.com. You can put a Chevy Silverado in your toolbox. Folks, he's back. Longtime sponsor, Nationwide agent Jeff Vukovich is back. For all your auto, home, business needs, contact Vuk at JeffVuk.com. And remember, Nationwide is on your side.
We also have all the news, traffic, and weather you need 24/7. If it's happening in Chicago, it won't be left out of our news. So keep it here on 720. WGN Chicago. A Nexstar Media Group station.
It is 47 degrees. Clouds are going to move in overnight.
Make your holidays count. JCPenney.
3rd down and 10. Swallowed up at the 2-yard line. Justin Jones comes in there. So the Bears have had a ton of trouble getting any sacks this season. Pick up on your 4th down and 17.
Hampton will be sponsored by your local Chevy dealers, ChevyDriveChicago.com, courtesy of Amazon Prime on Thursday Night Football. 312-981-7200, the number. The Bears get the win, 16-13 over the Carolina Panthers.
That was that could have been Justin Jones' best performance of the year thus far. He hadn't done anything, but he ran over a guard and put him on his back to get that sack. Everybody's talking about, Montez Sweat, make the other players, realize, hey, we can do that too.
Hey, the guy's been here 2 games. He hasn't done anything for $100 million.
There you go. And at least Justin Jones showed up and made that play for sure.
312-981-7200. Back out of the phones. Let's go to Vlad. Vlad, you're up with Hampton OB. Go ahead.
Hey, how you guys doing today?
Good.
Yeah, man. I'm very disappointed, man. I know a win's a win and all, but this was one of the worst games I watched in a very long time since that Bears and Browns game.
I agree.
I don't want to talk about that game. I want to talk about this game, but guys, 67 penalties, that's the most in the league. What are we doing? It's just enough's enough, man. I'm tired of it. The play calling has to go with Getsy and Eberflus, man. We need a new regime in here, man, the great Dan Hampton said, put on your big boy pants. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Vlad.
Well, and the sentiment is, the same, I think, from anyone that watched that game. And as OB has been, basically, saying over and over again, you watch two teams battle, and there's one offensive touchdown throughout the night. But
that's next to impossible.
Well, you're exactly right. But, okay, our defense did enough good things to keep them from scoring a touchdown. But all that being said, it should not even ever been this close. And we talked in the pregame that this is like a 6-inch putt. Go out there, put them in a hole, get after them, and turn this thing into a laugher. And no, we're begging and scratching and pleading to get them stopped. They go fourth down. They were 3 for 3 on fourth down that last drive. We had no answers, and by the grace of God, Panero come up short on that field goal. Otherwise, we'd have had to watch more of this nonsense.
Well, I tell you, that I think the thing that if there's a glimmer of hope, and I mentioned this last week and I said it again today, for us to win a game, okay, forget about running, passing, defense, everything. For us to win a game, there's 3 guys that have to be involved. And I mentioned before, DJ Moore, Cole Kmet, and Darnell Mooney. Now, between the 3 of them today, they've caught a total of 12 passes for 117 yards. If they don't do that, if Moore doesn't do what he did today, and Cole Kmet do what he did, and Mooney making a critical first down pass receiving, we don't win this game today. Those 3 guys, I would give them the credit for winning the game. And for us to win, if we go to Detroit, wherever we go, those 3 people have to be involved quarter to quarter to quarter and catching balls and scoring touchdowns and converting on third down situations. Yeah. DJ Moore, Cole Kmet, and Darnell Mooney. Again, 12 passes between them for 117. They don't do that. We don't even score a touchdown tonight. We don't score a touchdown.
That Mooney catch, one of our Muller Auto Group game-changing moments, sponsored by the Muller family of dealerships in Hoffman Estates, Gurnee, Highland Park, and Merrillville. Back out of the phones we go, 312-981-7200. Let's add Steve in Orland Park. You're up with Hampton OB. Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, I have 2 comments. One, I hope Tyson Bagent leaves the Bears. I think he'll have a better, bigger, and brighter future than he does with the Bears. And number 2, this Nate Davis. He hasn't played, I don't know how long, $30 million, people. $30 million. Is there no protection for the owner, or does he just sign checks? I mean, he should not have to deal with these kind of players.
That's Steve. That's a great call. I told Dan that, does anybody know what the kid looks like? Has anybody seen him? How in God can you sign this kid and give him that kind of money and he's nowhere to be found?
He's invisible.
How is that possible?
And you had the line of the night when you said, what's the matter with him? And Andy said, a high ankle sprain. And you said, how high? His brain? Look, folks, your point about Bagent has now started 4 games. He did not turn the ball over tonight. Obviously, that was huge in the final outcome. All that being said, think about this. We have to go on the road and play the Detroit Lions next week. I think they're going to beat the Chargers this weekend, and we'll see what happens. But all that being said, the elephant in the room is Justin Fields will be starting. And now he not only has to outplay Bagent, and we all have eyes and we can see what we're going to see. But not only does he have to outperform Bagent to keep his so-called QB1 status on this football team, but he also, in a big picture way, he needs to be, able to elevate his game and play as well as some of the other comps, the other quarterbacks that were first rounders. Think about this: C.J. Stroud, far and away playing better than we've ever seen Justin Fields. Deshaun Watson, Jordan Love up in Green Bay. He needs to be able to perform so much better than what we have seen thus far out of his, career of, mostly almost 2.5 years. His career completion percentage is 60.1. He's averaging about 170 yards passing a game. He's got 35 touchdowns, 27 interceptions. He's got one career 300-yard passing game, one. And he is 6-25 as a starter. Now, I don't want to, it's not apples to apples, but Bagent is 2-2 now as a starter. So there's going to be a lot of eyes on what Justin Fields does next week. Now, that being said, look at the offense and the plays that were called the last couple of weeks for Tyson Bagent. And he's going to be put in the same offense. It's going to be very, very interesting to see what we see.
Well, Danny, we played 10 games so far, correct? We're 3 victories and 7 defeats. And tonight was, to me, this, even though we won the game, and we don't win too many games, even though we won the game, I'm still like, what? And we have 26 coaches right now, 26. 2 have been fired, gone, quit, or whatever, for whatever the reasons are. I don't know, and I don't care. They're gone. We have 26 coaches. And we played a team that has won 1 game. And you mean to tell me that half of the 26, let's say our offensive coaches, you guys couldn't come up with a game plan to score touchdowns in 4 quarters of football against probably the worst team in the National Football League? And we're at home. We're at home. We're not playing in Carolina. And it comes down to the last minute, the last seconds of the game for us to maybe finally make sure, we're going to win it with 30 seconds to go. I find that laughable. I find it disgusting. And I'm going to tell you what. And the reason why these kids out there, they're playing their hearts out, but they're also getting paid millions and millions of dollars to play 17 games. You got a coaching staff making millions and millions of dollars. And that's what bothers the hell out of me. And when I see these people making this kind of money, and you mean to tell me in the 10th game, you only score 1 touchdown against the worst team in the National Football League, and you're at home, and we're supposed to be happy? Give me a break.
Hampton OB continues in just a moment, sponsored by your local Chevy dealers at ChevyDriveChicago.com. Put a Chevy Silverado in your toolbox. Take your money and mileage farther with Mariano's. Save up to $2 per gallon when you redeem up to 2,000 fuel points per fill at Mariano's fuel centers and participating BP and Amoco stations. Earn fuel points to fill up your car when you shop Mariano's for groceries, gift cards, and fill prescriptions. This double savings fuel point offer is connected to your Mariano's reward card and is taking place for just a limited time. Get topped off on all the details when you visit Marianos.com/fuel. Take your money and mileage farther when you shop Mariano's.
The $80,000 Black Friday Ultimate Weekend at the luckiest spot in Texas.
Thank you.
We'll see where it is this week. We'll see where it is. It's a big week to make that evaluation, so we'll see where it is. And when Justin's healthy, he'll be our starter, and we'll see where it goes.
Hampton OB sponsored by your local Chevy dealer, ChevyDriveChicago.com. Put a Chevy Silverado in your toolbox. The words of head coach Matt Eberflus. He's been pretty consistent about this, that if Justin Fields is ready to go next week, or actually in 10 days, he will be the starter. And you'd have to think that with 10 days of prep now, with the fact that he was close this week, that he will be starting in that game against the Lions.
No, book it. He not only will start, but I think he has to start. If he doesn't, then you're going to start saying, okay, how long does it take for your thumb to come back? I know nobody likes Aaron Rodgers, but I think Aaron Rodgers played with the same injury and didn't miss very much time at all. Maybe not even a game.
The one thing that I'm having a hard time here with this game, Danny, going back to this game here that just finished, is the Carolina Panthers, and we're at home, and boy, I'll tell you what, I'm absolutely mystified at their quarterback, their number one draft pick. Why that kid never? I don't think he ran. Maybe he ran like one time or tried, or maybe two. But there were so many times, Dan, where he could have taken off, and he'd still be running, and he never ran, and he did that for 4 quarters. I never could understand that.
Well,
what is going on? Why isn't this kid taking off and running with that football?
The very first series on 3rd down, he didn't see anybody, and he took the ball, brought it down, and ran for a first down. A couple of more plays, and then he ran again, and then he got whacked. And I think, Frank Reich told him on the sidelines, don't be doing that no more. We don't want you to be knocked out of the game. So evidently that's kind of the way they were playing it. But to Frank
Boy, I hope you're wrong about that, Dan.
Frank Reich told the broadcast crew, in their meeting, that he knew that he was coming in on the short end of the stick, and for them not to make those critical mistakes, interceptions, fumbles, all that, try to stay somewhere in the game and try to win it at the end of the game, in the 4th quarter. And you know what? They damn near did it.
Well, they also damn near didn't do a lot of other things, of which played 4 quarters of football and offensively from 4 quarters never scored a touchdown. Now you know how hard you got to work at that to not score a touchdown somehow. I mean, forget about the punt return for the. I'm talking offensively. Their offensive sets, series after series, quarter after quarter, and you can't score a touchdown against the Bears, who have only won 2 games, and you have only won 1. Are you kidding? And you can't score a touchdown? You don't let your quarterback run? What kind of football game is this that we watched tonight? Very strange to me, folks. Very, very strange what went on with that game tonight.
16-13, Bears the win. Let's get to the phones again. And 312-981-7200 to Elmhurst and Rob. Rob, you're up with Hampton OB. Go ahead.
Hey, guys, how are you? You guys got the best post-game show. I love you both. I've been thinking about stuff that, I'm spoiled. I grew up in the 80s. And, Danimo, you were one of the key figures of the 46 defense that Buddy created. Eberflus allegedly is a defensive genius, and yet, unless I'm wrong, it seemed like the box was left empty the entire game as usual. Where's the emotion? Where's the adrenaline? Where's the attack to go get these guys? It's pathetic. And they think, okay, we bring in Montez Sweat, pay him an insane amount of money. We need more help on the offensive line, and we need better players than just partial guys. I mean, I'm as frustrated as you guys are, and it's been too long.
Thanks, Rob. We appreciate it.
Very good call.
Folks, in the 4th quarter, the Panthers kind of got something going. And if you think back, it was essentially Bryce Young dropping back and then finding receivers right over the middle. In fact, Jack Sanborn kind of was up at the line mugging, then bailed out and almost got a pick when he threw it right at him. But essentially, Bryce Young was trying to throw the ball right there in the middle part of the field, the grid, and they were moving it, right down the field, completion after completion. And when that happens, essentially what you want your defensive line to do is to collapse the pocket back into the quarterback's lap. Unfortunately, we're too stupid with our rushes to know that, that is the way you can combat that. Because those crossing routes, it's just hard to cover. You got to be able to collapse that pocket back in the quarterback's face. And we were running a bunch of simpleton stunts where they were creating big voids, and Bryce Young was just stepping one way or the other and making the completion. You have got to be smart enough to realize that and get a better performance out of the defensive line, which, of course, we didn't get.
Hampton OB, sponsored by your local Chevy dealers at ChevyDriveChicago.com. We got to take a break for the news here. We will come back. We'll hear from head coach Matt Eberflus, also from Tyson Bagent, and perhaps some other players from the locker room as well. If the Bears win at 16-13. Time now for the news at 11:30 with David Jennings.
It's Bob Surratt. Download the WGN app and make us the first button on your digital dashboard. See how at WGNradio.com.
48 degrees. Clouds are going to move in tonight. It's 11:30. Good evening. I'm David Jennings.
Chevy dealers, Dan Hampton's defensive player of the game.
Assignment, detail, and just being able to lock in and I'm keen to put myself in that position to make those plays and affect the QB and mess with his head and all that stuff. So just preparation and just playing the game, learning, and just attacking their offense and messing them up.
Dan Hampton's defensive player of the game, sponsored by your local Chevy dealers and the Chevy Silverado, official truck partner of the Chicago Bears. That was Kyler Gordon after the game. He had 8 total tackles. 7 of them were solo. He had a couple of tackles for loss and 1 pass defense. So Kyler Gordon is the defensive player of the game.
And, he's been back, 3 weeks now, and he's gotten better every single game. And if you look at his, career arc, he's getting better and better. He was easily the best defensive player on the field tonight, both sides.
Well, apparently there must have been an awful lot of great defensive players out there tonight. And folks, just going back to it, I can't believe how lousy this game was. The Bears had 70 offensive plays. 70. Their opponents had 57. 57 plays for a total of 127 plays. That's offensive plays, folks. Okay? 127. 1 touchdown. 1 touchdown was scored tonight. 1 touchdown between these two teams.
Yeah, offensively, there was 1, and then the punt return. So there was. Well, I know. I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, that's a special teams. No, but 127 times, 70 by them. 70 by us, 57 times, 127, and 1 touchdown scored. And you guys are going to feel happy about a victory, feel happy about a win, when now you've got 3 wins and the other team's got 1. What up? Oh, Jesus.
It's not good. And, obviously, as you look ahead, 10 days, we go to Detroit. And we're going to have a change of quarterback. Justin Fields, in all probability, will start. Now, we talked about this. 70 plays, we score 1 touchdown tonight. He's got to be real excited about the game plan coming up, right? Your point about the team being excited about winning. And, okay, a win is a win. And, okay, it counts the same whether it was 3 points or 30.
And I congratulate him. Hey, listen, you won. Congratulations.
All that being said.
But then there's a word called reality.
Well, the reality is we've got some type of emotional dysfunction because it shouldn't be enough, and it shouldn't be a reason to celebrate. It should be kind of a catalyst to say, okay, we tasted a little victory here. Now, the most important thing is to feel that same, emotion after the game we play in 10 days in Detroit. Unfortunately, we haven't seen a team be able to respond and be able to kind of have that overarching attitude that says, hey, okay, we won, but we didn't play our best game. For whatever reason, you could tell from the beginning, the way we covered the very first punt of the game. We go half blank all the way down there and fall around, and this nobody who was here, by the way, you people remember Smith Marset?
Yeah, he's the one that gave the ball away in Minnesota.
Blew the Minnesota game with a couple of fumbles. Anyway, let this guy, go 79 yards for a touchdown. Now, when you give up, by the way, Carolina has not had a kick return for a touchdown since 2016. Think about that. they still had a quarterback back then. Remember
Cam Newton.
Cam Newton.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's how long ago. And so it's not like they're at some kind of a dynamo. No, we were half blanking it down the field. And that is a great indication of what type of emotional peak you've gotten yourself to be ready to play or not be ready to play. And I knew at that moment, this thing was going to go sideways. And by the grace of God, a kick comes up a few yards short. Otherwise, we're in overtime. And I wrote down on my paper, Andy, I said, I'm not even going to think about losing this game. I'm not even going to think about, the ramifications if the Bears lose at home to this team that couldn't even win a game in the USFL. Danny. So I'm just saying, the whole thing from start to finish was putrid. And again, it's about the team. And I'm looking for leaders. Who's a leader on that team? Who is going to be unhappy about the way they embarrass themselves?
Well,
nobody, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you what. You got the third quarter, what was it, roughly around 6:33. We scored a touchdown, and it's a 2-point game. And why Eberflus did not try to go for the 2-point conversion, and he kicked the extra point. And that could have come back to bite us right in the backside, Danny. If that very well could have happened tonight.
Right.
Very well. Why he didn't go for 2 points to make it a 3-point game, I have absolutely no idea. And that was with 6:33 in the third quarter. And you don't even try? You don't try to go for 2 points and make it a 3-point game because you're just going back and forth. It's not like we're scoring touchdowns every time they got the ball. Nobody's scoring. You score, but you don't go for the 2 points. And lucky it did not come back to bite Eberflus right square on his damn nose.
Well, and we've talked about it all night, as dysfunctional as the offense was. 71 plays, we score one single miserable touchdown. Maybe he's thinking, oh, my God, I can't expect them to score the 2-point conversion because we've been so awful at everything else. So, 70% of the coaches would have done it. That's what the book says. Go for 2, but he opted out of it. So in the long run, okay, it didn't bite us, but
he's lucky it didn't come back to bite him. And I'll tell you, if that would have happened, I'll tell you what, every outlet in the country here, especially in the Midwest, they'd have been all over Eberflus.
Here's something to think about, too. I mean, players are expected to show signs of progression and evolvement, and they're supposed to get better week to week.
This is our 10th game, man.
No, I understand that.
And we score one touchdown? I'm disagreeing with you.
No, my point is not that. My point is the fact that why shouldn't we expect the coaching staff to do the same thing? And why shouldn't we expect the head coach to evolve with his team and understand what his team is and adapt to what he's got rather than trying to force these round pegs into square holes? It's been almost 2 years now.
Well, that has been the case with, the play calls and how it suits the quarterback, whichever quarterback was on the field at the time. We talked about tonight about getting the quarterback out of the bite, and we did a lot more of that tonight. It wasn't a huge success, but the big part of that was OB. Right. It wasn't a catastrophe play.
They bootlegged out, play action bootleg. Yes, I saw it, and they did it. Kudos for that.
Right, but and even though it didn't eventuate into a lot of big plays, big chunk plays, but it did avoid the strip sack or the quarterback being mauled in the pocket or throwing up a prayer that would have been intercepted, and which probably would have been doomed.
16-13, the Bears end up winning the game over the Carolina Panthers. More coming up on Hampton OB here in just a second. We'll have Kevin Powell, who took in the game in person there in the Soldier Field press box. He'll tell us what was going on in the locker room after the game as well. Hampton OB is sponsored by your local Chevy dealer, ChevyDriveChicago.com. Put a Chevy Silverado in your toolbox. And a big thanks again to Rosebud Restaurants for the great game day meals they've been serving us all year.
They have been great.
The lemon chicken today, oh, man. The Chicago staple, though, is
Chicken Limon.
Limon, excuse me. I couldn't remember the name of it. It was
Limon.
Limon. I'm going to have to become a chef now. The Chicago staple is serving up century-old recipes at each of their 8 locations. Experience the iconic Rosebud on Taylor Street. You can stop by Rosetta Italian in the Loop, Rosebud on Rush, or warm up after a game at Rosebud on Randolph. Don't forget about Rosebud Deerfield, Lamont, Naperville, and Carmine's Rosemont. Folks, now's the time to plan that holiday party. It's just ahead, and all you have to do is go to rosebudrestaurants.com.
While Texas Mutual has paid dividends for 25 years, dividends are based on performance and are not guaranteed.
He's really starting to free guys up, which is what a good rusher does. He really starts to free guys up on the inside, on the other side, because he draws attention. And, just the way he rushes. And again, I think his impact is going to be more and more as we go.
Hampton will be sponsored by your local Chevy dealer, ChevyDriveChicago.com. Matt Eberflus talking about Montez Sweat, who today was given credit for 3 quarterback hits, and that was pretty much the night.
He basically, in 2 games, hasn't done a damn thing.
I got to tell you, underimpressed. And here's the thing, folks. The true essence of a great defensive lineman is beating a blocker one-on-one, not once, not twice, 3 out of 4 times, play after play after play. His 2 hits on the quarterback I saw. One, they turned him loose, and he had Bryce Young down close to the goal line. On another play, a series before, they had a tight end kind of stun him, and then the tight end releases to go out, and he ran, on into the pocket and got to Young and forced a errant throw. When he was locked up on the right tackle or the left tackle, play after play after play, he'd just run right into the guy, get locked up, and start hand fighting and all that nonsense. It was pathetic. And I got to tell you, if that's what we're going to see, this was a bust. This was a bust. I did not, Eberflus wants to, throw kudos at everybody. I'm telling you what the meat and potatoes of pro football is about. It's about whipping somebody's ass at the line of scrimmage when you're one-on-one. I didn't see it one time.
All right, our Kevin Powell was out at the football game tonight, and he was in the locker room as well. KP, we're kind of talking about a win, not really feeling like a win here tonight. Is that kind of what the sense you got?
Yeah, they weren't overly celebrating this victory. It's a 3-point win over maybe the worst team in the NFL, 16-13 at home. I'm with Hamp there. We want to see more splash plays from a guy they traded a high 2nd-round pick to Washington for and gave him a whole bunch of money. But it was good to see 3 sacks. They only had 10 going into this game. So I thought that was good to see. But I think overall the message from just about everybody we talked to was that, no, it was not a pretty victory, but it is a victory, and it's just the 6th win overall under Matt Eberflus. So a win is a win. It was not a pretty one, and I don't think they were overly excited about the victory against Carolina in this one. But at home in primetime, it was ugly at times, but and I thought Tyson Bagent, I'm not sure what you guys thought. I didn't think he saw the field all that well. Great tonight, but he didn't take a sack. He didn't turn the ball over. Hamp, I know we even talked about this a little bit before the game. That's a guy, again, we know the story, right? Playing D2 football last year, it's just his 4th start. No turnovers, no sacks. He did enough in this one, but you would have liked to see the Bears pull away at some point against, again, a 1-win Carolina Panthers team.
Well, go ahead.
No, the thing that just I have a hard time getting past it is in the 60 minutes of football. The 60 minutes of football tonight, we come up with 1 offensive touchdown against the worst team. There's nothing to even argue about. Against the worst team in the National Football League, and we're at home on a nationally televised game, and we can only score 1 touchdown. I have a problem with that.
Kevin, you mentioned that obviously OB and I are big proponents of stretching defenses, throwing it down the field all night. We saw the tunnel screen, the speed screen, all that nonsense. Obviously, Carolina was ready for it and continued to kind of, stomp it out. A couple of the shots that Bagent did throw down the field, they weren't good balls, were they? One was out of bounds to Moore, and then another one to Mooney. I think Mooney essentially became a defender and tried to make sure it wasn't intercepted.
Yeah, no, and I think when they watch the film too, they're going to see some shots that Tyson Bagent didn't take down the field, and it's funny because last week he was very aggressive, right? He looked confident. He was making throws. It ended up costing him turnovers and interceptions and all those things. So I don't know, maybe that factored in a little bit tonight in his play because he did look a little bit reluctant to take some of those shots. I completely agree, Hamp. When he did, it just didn't seem like the right time to take those shots. But there were a couple of opportunities, and whether it was because there was pressure in his face or whatever, he didn't get the ball down the field. But yeah, I mean, overall, this offense just really wasn't sustaining drives and putting explosive plays together. But credit to the defense, right? They gave up a grand total of 6 points. Special teams gave up that touchdown. When I saw that, I was like, oh boy, they might find another way to lose a game. But and we did ask Matt Eberflus after the game if Justin will start against Detroit a week from Sunday. I mean, it's 9 days away now. And, not surprisingly, he didn't commit. He just said, we'll see when Justin is healthy. He will be the starter. I think all of us are anticipating Justin Fields to start against Detroit in a week and a half or so, considering there was a chance he might even play in this one. So I think the offense in this game looks a whole lot different with Justin Fields on the field. And, again, credit to Tyson Bagent. He went 2-2 over 4 games, but Justin Fields adds that explosive element to the offense that was clearly lacking tonight. I did like seeing them go to DJ Moore early and often. The first play of the game went to DJ Moore. He's playing his former team. He's probably your best player on the entire team. He knows how to make plays. But they lacked, sustained drives, getting first down, explosive plays, things like that. Again, it was winning ugly tonight. And again, we would have liked to see them pull away, but it's a team that has not found ways to win. They have found ways to lose over the past 2 years, and they found a way to do enough to get a victory over the one-win Panthers.
Well, Kevin, the way I see it offensively, and obviously, again, I know this is a passing league. That's just the way it is. And for us to be a successful team, I don't care who's at quarterback, who you have in there, DJ Moore, Cole Kmet, and Darnell Mooney. They have to be our 3 pinpoints that we go to quarter after quarter after quarter, game after game after game. If we can go from game to game, hit these 3 guys, we're going to win more than we're going to lose. Now, we had between the 3 of them, they had 12 receptions for 117 yards. If we don't have that tonight, we don't win this game because, again, we only scored 1 touchdown. But Moore, Kmet, and Mooney, if we hit them from game after game after game, we're going to have a chance to win a game, any game. But if we don't, we're going to lose.
Kevin, real quick, did any of the defensive players come up with some kind of a mea culpa about how they get Carolina in 1st and 30 and they wind up giving them, up a first down out of that?
That one was frustrating. They didn't go into detail about that, Ham, but this is a team that's been prone to mistakes over and over and over again, whether it's penalties. They were trying to kneel the ball on the final play, and they committed a false start. I was like, you got to be kidding me. So they didn't go into detail, Ham, a ton on that one, but it's a team that just makes way too many mistakes. Fortunately, they found a way tonight, but they've obviously got a lot of ground to make up. And guys, again, the Tyson Bagent story, great. I think he's done a solid job over 4 games, all things considered. But I cannot wait to see Justin Fields back out there because, one, we all know, right? We want to evaluate Fields more. We want to see what he can do on the field. But he does bring a totally different explosive element to the offense, and I do fully expect Fields to be starting against Detroit in a week and a half.
Kevin, the one thing that goes against what you just said, this is his 3rd year here.
Yeah.
This is his 3rd year. How many games has he won? And each year, his first 3 years, because he runs, he's been hurt. He's not there for the 16 games. When it was a 16-game schedule, we're running with the ball, he's hurt. When he goes to the 17th game, he's hurt again. 3 years, he's been hurt. Oh, well.
No, I'm with you, OB. I mean, he's got to do a better job of protecting himself, and they've got to do a better job of protecting him. So, and that injury, that thumb injury that he sustained 4 weeks ago, whatever it was, part of that was Fields not getting rid of the ball. He on that play, he hung on to it a little bit too long, took the shot from behind, and then fell on his hand awkwardly. So, yeah, I mean, that's a huge part of it is protecting Fields and seeing what they got. And again, I love the Bagent story. No matter what Fields looks like over the final 7 games or so here, I think they've got something in Bagent. I don't know if it's a long-term solution or anything, but he's been, all things considered, pretty impressive over the 4 starts.
All right, Kev.
In my opinion.
Kev, thanks so much. We appreciate you taking the time.
Thanks, Kev.
All right, guys. All right, thanks, guys.
All right, have a safe trip home. Kevin Powell joining us here. Hampton will be sponsored by your local Chevy dealer, ChevyDriveChicago.com. Put a Chevy Silverado in your toolbox.
Oi. Hey, it's Lisa Dent. Get your news, sports, and traffic all day, every day on the station you can trust. Live and local 24/7, 720. And on smart devices worldwide. WGN Chicago. A Nexstar Media Group station.
It's 49 degrees and partly cloudy at 12:01. Good morning. I'm James Sears. WGN Sports Time, 12:06.
The Bears get their 3rd win of the season, holding on to beat the Panthers 16-13 on Thursday Night Football. Deontay Foreman, 21 carries, 80 yards, and the lone Bears touchdown. Tyson Bagent, 20 of 33, 162 yards, no turnovers, and did not take a sack.
Going out with a win is obviously fantastic for the team. And yeah, I don't know if this is it. And, nothing really changes for me with, the preparation, how I'm attacked every week. But, I learned that it's really hard to win in the NFL. So appreciate all the wins. And just really, I appreciate the team, staff and player included. They've all rallied behind me extremely well. And, always, I never had a doubt for a second that they all had my back.
That's Tyson Bagent. Could be his last start. Expect Justin Fields probably to be back next week. Hampton OB, sponsored by your local Chevy dealer, ChevyDriveChicago.com.
Andy, Justin Fields, if he comes back, he's going to run. All right? That's what he likes to do. And guess what's going to happen? I told you this from day one with this kid. It's just a matter of time. He's going to get cranked again.
All right, guys, time now for the Curveball Whiskey Bonehead Play of the Game. It is sponsored by our good friends at Curveball, the original barbecue whiskey. Join the Bonehead Nation today at curveballwhiskey.com. All right, who wants to go first? OB, you want to go first?
No, go ahead, Dan.
All right, Dan.
All right, late in the 4th quarter, it was 4th and I think 3 or 4. And Eberflus dials up a blitz, and it's imperative that everybody knows where to go. There's gaps between the guard, center, tackle. Everybody has a gap. And T.J. Edwards blitzed right up the back of a defensive tackle, creating a big void. Bryce Young threw it for a completion.
Well, my bonehead is Bryce Young also. And my bonehead play is I could not understand. For 4 quarters, I couldn't count the opportunities where he should have taken off and he should have ran with the football. I mean, there were gaps when he dropped back to pass. There, everybody was covered where he could have taken off and he'd still be running. And so my bonehead play is basically for 4 quarters. Why did Bryce Young not run that football? Boy, that's something I like to ask that coach or ask somebody in that organization. And you could see it. I mean, you see where he wanted to go, but he didn't run. He did not run. And I find that hard to believe. But anyways.
You could ask the quarterback coach. Who is the quarterback coach for the Carolina Panthers?
You have to look it up, too.
Yeah. Guess who it is?
Have no idea.
It's Josh McCown.
The quarterback that we had here back when Cutler was.
Josh McCown?
Josh McCown.
That kid?
Mm-hmm.
He was on the sidelines talking to Bryce Young, yeah.
That's the guy.
Quarterback coach.
So Bryce Young decided to sip it rather than flip it tonight is what you're saying.
Yeah. Well, let's hear what our beloved head coach has to say.
We're going to get to that right after the break. We're going to hear from Matt Eberflus. I want to remind you, though, that you can fuel up for the Bears' next game. It's sponsored by Mariano's, where you can save up to $2 a gallon by saving Mariano's fuel points. Take your money and mileage farther with Mariano's. That'll be Sunday, the 19th of November. So a mini bye here, 10 days that is. The Bears will be at Detroit on Sunday, November 19th. It's a 12 o'clock kick, and that means our pregame show will come on at 11 a.m. on that Sunday. So, again, 10 days from today, the Bears in a division game against the Detroit Lions at Ford Field. Hampton OB is sponsored by your local Chevy dealers at ChevyDriveChicago.com. When we come back, we'll hear from the head coach, Matt Eberflus. Bears win it 16-13 here on 720 WGN.
Now back to the Hampton OB Show, sponsored by your local Chevy dealers.
Hampton OB sponsored by those local Chevy dealers, ChevyDriveChicago.com. Put a Chevy Silverado in your toolbox. Let's head out to Soldier Field and get the thoughts of the head coach, Matt Eberflus.
Okay, happy for the guys in the locker room. They are excited to win this game. Go 2-0 on Thursday night. That was a big emphasis this week, and the guys did a nice job with the course of the game. I wanted to thank the Bears fans again. They do a great job with our being on third down, getting loud when they're supposed to, and it's really an advantage for us on defense, and when we get to third down there. So they did a really good job there. With the game, I really thought that we played some good complementary football. I really thought that the defense did a really good job of creating some short fields for our offense most of the day, and that was good. We capitalized on some of them. It was that kind of game. Both defenses played well today, and we knew it was going to be some field goals there as the game went on. And I thought that overall, we handled it well and put ourselves in position to win the game. I'm certainly proud of the guys, the way they handled the end of the half. Really did a good job with, taking the 2-minute down there with Bajent. Did a really good job there. And, scoring a touchdown at the end there. So it was good. Overall, the performances I thought were, I thought that Kyler Gordon played really well. I thought the D-line played well. Got some really good pressures. Had 3 sacks. I thought some guys made some clutch catches. We had the 4th down try with Scott. That was a heck of a catch. In there, Mooney sealed the game. I thought Cole made some really nice catches in there as well. Deontay Foreman ran hard. I had a really good rushing average. I thought he really did a nice job, too, of controlling the game and keeping it where it was. But overall, excited to win the game, and guys are pumped for the weekend. Rest and recovery weekend for us. The guys had the weekend off, and they'll come back in on Monday and ready to go for the next couple games. So with that, I'll open up to questions.
Matt, when it was 10-9 and you all scored that touchdown on that Foreman touchdown, what consideration was given to going for 2? Maybe a full 7 points, and that wouldn't be an issue, of course, when they're trying to drive down the tires.
Yeah, we were just wanted to stack the points up there. Really wanted to stack the points up there. It was it's that type of game. We thought that our defense was playing really well, and we know it was going to be a close game at the end.
Matt, at halftime, you told the broadcast that you had something up your sleeve. What were you anticipating? Did you get to everything that you wanted to get to in the second half?
No, we didn't. But we certainly, had a good plan coming out there. And again, it was a defensive game this weekend. I thought the guys did a really nice job finishing the game the way we're supposed to, and we did good.
Did we see what was up your sleeve? Did you use it, or
I don't know. What's up yours?
You got me there.
Yeah.
Jason off the decision to throw on third down is very good.
Yeah.
What was the discussion like? And I talked to a couple players in there that said they were a little surprised.
No, I mean, there's really a decision there you have, right? So if you decide to run, at that time, then you're going to punt and pin, and they would have had minute 10 with no timeouts. And hopefully on the 10-yard line if we punt it right. So that was the idea there. We liked the play call. We discussed it, and we went for it. And we thought that it executed well. Mooney made a beautiful catch, and he's 1 yard past the stick and sealed the game. So really good play call by Luke. Excellent execution by the O-line, the entire offense, and Mooney on the catch and Bajent on the throw.
Undrafted rookie quarterback doesn't matter.
Nope. Nope, doesn't matter. No, he's done a good, like I said before, he's done a really good job. As a rookie, think about it, as a rookie quarterback, he goes 2-2, just coming into the NFL, to operate an offense the way he did and to do a really good job and sound. What was really good today was that he's always done a really good job avoiding sacks, throughout the course of the 4 games that he's played. But what he did well today was he didn't put the ball in harm's way, and he gave us a chance to win.
Matt, on their last drive, what would you make of just kind of the back and forth? It took them a really long time to get across midfield. You guys kind of stiffened and forced a really.
Yeah, I mean, they were in a situation where they were going 4 downs. So we knew that, and they had some good play designs there. I thought that obviously the 3rd in inches. We stopped them there. Then they go on 4th in inches. That's a play everybody runs, but then they got another 4th down. I thought that was a good play design there. Then we end up getting them to midfield, and then they really just at that point, I'm thinking, knock them out of field goal range and keep them out of field goal range, and don't make it a game. And our guys executed well, so we dialed up a couple pressures there, and then the 3rd down pressure was good. Where Jack almost made the interception. I know he's upset about that. I already talked to him about it, but he'll make that next time. But then they missed the field goal. It was a long field goal, and did a nice job.
Are you expecting Justin back based on what you saw this week? You expecting him against Detroit?
Yeah, we'll see where it is this week. We'll see where it is. It's a big week to make that evaluation. So we'll see where it is. And when Justin's healthy, he'll be our starter, and we'll see where it goes.
How close was he to being available today?
Yeah, that's all I have right now. I don't have anything else. No more updates on it. That's all I have right now. That's where it is.
Matt, the second game with Montez Sweat, what did you make of his impact tonight?
Good. Yeah, he's really starting to free guys up, which is what a good rusher does. It really starts to free guys up on the inside, on the other side, because he draws attention. And, just the way he rushes. And, again, I think his impact is going to be more and more as we go.
Matt, on the 79-yard punt return for touchdown, how do you correct the lane integrity there? I know there's missed tackles, but what else are the coaching points?
Yeah, I mean, Blackwell is just coming off, from his 21 day, and he's now playing for us again, and he took a shot, and we're okay with that. It's just you got to just right guys on the right, guys on the left. You got to keep it on their inside pad, and you can't stack each other. And I think I saw that on the picture. So that's a big thing that you got to really correct. But our guys know that. We just got to execute better.
There was a disconnection between Tyson and Tyler Scott on the 3rd down. I can't remember what it was, but Tyler got really open in the secondary. And Tyson looked at him but went somewhere else. Do you maybe want him to kind of pull the trigger on that, even if he's not necessarily seeing the guy all?
Always, quarterback pull the trigger on a wide open guy down the field. Always. That's what we want him to do for sure. I saw him too, and I don't know what Tyson. Haven't talked to him yet about it, but certainly, yeah, throw it.
Apologies, this is already asked, but what do you make of Deontay Foreman's toughness? He gets dinged up a little bit, comes back in the second half.
Yeah, he's always been that way. Deontay is a tough guy. He's a great person. He's a great teammate, and he always shows that toughness.
And you've been optimistic throughout the course of these 2 seasons. What's it like for you in the locker room, these guys after a win, and having this kind of feeling going forward to work?
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun in there after a win, but I'll just tell you this: it's fun to come to work every day, throughout the entire time. Because the men we have in that locker room are unbelievable. So they're able to pull together, okay, and really do a good job of executing during the week. And if we do what it takes to win. Which is what we did today. We'll win more games. And, when you take care of the football and you do a good job of that and, play complementary football as we did today at times, you're going to win some games.
And defensively, what do you sense you guys did well to make Bryce uncomfortable really for the entirety of the night?
Yeah, just mixing the coverages. We had a good mix of coverages there that looked very similar to each other. And then when the ball snapped, it's not the same thing. So that's a good thing we did. Eddie and Jaquan are really good disguisers of the coverages as well as the corners. They got a really good staff over there. So it's obviously Frank's my friend, and I know he's seen us. So I know that I just try to change it up a little bit based on our time together. But yeah, they do a good job of disguising in the back end.
In the second half, it looked like you were doing the spoon feeding motion, the go eat to the pass rushers. Were you letting them go rush more freely?
You saw me doing this?
I did, on the sideline.
Oh.
So is there...
I don't recall doing that. That's fine.
Is there a certain mindset that you were, kind of trying to implore on them to pin their ears back and rush?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, those guys, we want them to go get it. And I didn't do a lot of stunts or movements. I did that mostly with some of the pressures, but I just let them pin and go. And because it was being effective. It really was effective. Not only in third down, it was effective also, even in early downs. So they did a good job.
Coach, you always so coy with us. You go on national TV at halftime and said, if you got something stuck up your sleeve. What's up with that?
I know. You got something up your sleeve, too?
No, but you...
All right, he missed that, Jason. Yeah, so...
You and Frank are obviously very close. What was squaring off with him, both in terms of friendship dynamic and also the schematic standpoint?
Yeah, it was fun. We enjoyed certainly going against each other in practice, during training camp, and we've had many discussions about ball and about life and about our families, but it was really good to see him.
Thank you.
All right, the coach, Matt Eberflus, after the Bears win at 16-13 over the Panthers to go to 3-7 on the season. What'd you hear from that?
There's an old saying in golf, every shot makes somebody happy. Well, evidently, this win makes Matt Eberflus happy. Getting 3 wins is obviously better than the alternative. I just, I grew up at a different time with different coaches that would look at something like we saw tonight and have, a completely different take. And I don't know. Maybe that's his modus operandi, OB, that he thinks, hey, we just keep throwing powder puffs at everybody, and boy, they're just going to feel great and want to go to work every day and be happy and love going to work. And I don't know. I'm just saying this team, this was not good tonight.
Well, Danny, I just listened to him, and he was talking about Sweet, our new $100 million defensive end. And he was saying he made it easier for all the other guys on the defensive line. Coach, I'm not sure what game you were watching tonight, but your guy, Sweet, your defensive end, was not double-teamed. Okay? He never touched the quarterback. At least that I saw. He was not double-teamed. So I don't know what you're talking about, making it easier for the other guys.
All right, that's going to wrap up our show tonight. We appreciate you joining us here tonight, and also for the phone calls earlier tonight as well. Bears win at 16-13 over the Panthers.
Somebody wins some steak.
Somebody won some steaks tonight.
They're
$300 worth of steaks. That's a beautiful thing. Like you said in golf, it's like in steaks. Somebody's happy, right? I
got to go home and have curveball over the rocks.
Yes, you're going to sip it or flip it. Sip it or flip it.
I'm going to sip it over the rocks.
All right, that's what we want to hear. We'll be back with you again in 10 days on the 19th of November. That'll be a 11 o'clock a.m. pregame show before the Bears take on the Detroit Lions. Hampton OB has been sponsored by your local Chevy dealers at ChevyDriveChicago.com.
It's John Williams. WGN Radio sounds best on the WGN app. Download it now and make us the first button on your digital dashboard. See how at WGNRadio.com.
It's 48 degrees and partly cloudy at 12:30. Good morning. I'm James Sears. West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin is leading the Senate, and he has plans. Plus, the IRS is changing up the tax brackets. The Bears beat Carolina 16-3. The Hawks won at Tampa Bay 5-3. WGN traffic right now on the Dan Ryan. Inbound at 71st Street, we have an accident in the left lane. Also on the Tri-State, still that disabled vehicle blocking the right lane northbound at 31st Street. West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin said Thursday he won't seek re-election next year, and that has Senate Democrats concerned about losing their majority in 2024. More from News Nation's Mike Viqueira.
One other point is very important. West Virginia, Ohio, and Montana. 3 states that President Trump won. 3 states that are represented by a Democratic senator. 3 states that those senators are up for re-election in 2024. Republicans banking on flipping those states. One of them just got a lot easier on their way to their attempt to regain control of the United States Senate, regardless of who's going to be president, whether it's Joe Biden, Donald Trump, or somebody else. That is a major development.
West Virginia has leaned more Republican in recent elections. Manchin says he plans to travel the country to gauge interest on creating a movement to bring Americans together. And that's created speculation he's considering running for president as a third-party candidate. The IRS is boosting its tax brackets for next year to account for the effects of inflation. Income limits for all 7 tax brackets are going up by 5.4%. Married couples filing jointly making up to $94,000 a year now can qualify for the 12% tax bracket. That's an increase of almost $5,000 from last year. The standard deduction is going up too, rising to just over $29,000 for married couples. That's an increase of $1,500. Robert De Niro's former assistant's been awarded $1.2 million in a gender discrimination lawsuit. A New York jury clearing the Oscar winner himself, but did find one of his companies responsible for a toxic work environment. The forecast from the WGN Chicago Weather Center: today sunny, breezy, and cooler, a high of 49. Then a clear night and chilly down to the mid-20s inland. A sunny weekend, still cool, high of 49 for Veterans Day Saturday. Sunday, we get up to 56. Cloudy skies out there right now, 47 degrees at O'Hare. I'm James Sears, WGN News. Next news when it happens, next scheduled news at 1 o'clock.